Guys, I'm here. JC Shurburtt, Chief Sports South Carolina YouTube page. Inside the Gamecocks, the show, and thebigspur.com. Breaking news tonight. Ruined my second video I was going to release. You'll learn more about that later when I actually put the next video up. But this guy committed to South Carolina before I had a chance to kind of break down his visit. Rasul Faison has committed to the Gamecocks. I think we've talked a lot about running backs, talked about Justice Haynes, and followed that recruitment. Of course, he opted for Michigan, the back from Alabama. And then this guy from Utah State was pretty heavily recruited. Alabama wanted him. North Carolina had him in for a visit. Bill Belichick and that crew thought he was really good. And he commits to the Gamecocks after his visit to South Carolina this past weekend. I've said it before. You can't go into a season with three at running back. You need four, preferably five. I don't think they're going to get another portal running back. What I think will happen if they want to have five, if they feel more comfortable with that number, is Jaquel Hallman from Blackville Hilda, the freshman coming in, who could be a linebacker or a running back, will start on the offensive side of the ball. That's not a news report I'm reporting. That's just speculation. If they wanted to go to five scholarship running backs, that guy obviously is an option. Maybe there's a walk on they like to be that fifth guy that could get in there and get him out of a game or something like that. You hope to not ever go to your fifth back, but we know how that goes sometimes around here. But this is a very, very good pickup for South Carolina. Like I said, he had some major interest from other schools coming from the group of five level. Utah State had kind of a weird off season with some coaching changes, this, that, and the other. 4-8 record. So not a very good team, but he was good. He averaged 5.6 yards per carry, over 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns on the season against Boise State, who, at least some people on the college football selection committee thought was really, really good this year. 26 carries for 109 yards and a touchdown against UNLV, the other really good team, who I thought actually was good, who actually played several Power 5 opponents and beat most of them. 15 carries for 83 yards against the then led by Barry Odom UNLV Rebels. He had 9 carries for 54 yards in an early loss to Southern Cal. They got shut out pretty badly in that one. I guess that's when we were still believing the Trojans played defense. Nevertheless, very good player. Interesting story. It's from Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Like I said, I've said several times, it's from Eastern Pennsylvania outside of Philadelphia. Really good football in that area. Made his way to Snow Junior College in Utah and then goes to Utah State and just blossoms. He's 5'11", 200 pounds. I like his vision, his quickness, acceleration, 4.45 second 40 guy. The breakaway speed is there. Did a lot for Utah State this season at that level. So, you think about it, maybe he doesn't rush for 1,000 yards at South Carolina. Maybe he's not even the starter. But like I said before, you need depth in that room, and this guy is a legit back. I'm not saying he won't start. I'm just saying maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But there's competition there, so you don't worry about it. Running backs obviously get beat up, dinged up. I don't think we still haven't been through a season at South Carolina where a running back has not missed time because of injury. Rocket Sanders, of course, did miss all but a couple of snaps of the Akron game. Rocket actually, because he did play and get one carry in the Akron, he actually played in every game. He just missed, with the exception of the bowl, obviously, because he opted out. He just missed most of the Akron game. And then Carolina, of course, was off the next week. So you can't really avoid bumps and bruises and some missed time at that position. You look at Rico Dowdle rushing for 1,000 yards with the Dallas Cowboys this year in the NFL. People are like, well, what was he doing at South Carolina? He wasn't even drafted. He was never healthy. And when he was Rico, if you remember, was a really good back. Did some really good things at South Carolina. So that's just part of the game these days is injuries at running back, bumps and bruises. You need depth, especially in the SEC where you're playing really fast, athletic, hard-hitting guys on defense most of the time. And so this is a critical pickup. When you look at the offer list, and you see Alabama on there and you see Belichick going after, and you've lost a Justice Haynes to Michigan, or you've lost some other guys to some other schools, you get concerned. Well, can they win this battle? Yeah, they can. It's just you got to be selective with who you go after. With the NIL situation, I've said many times, you kind of got to pay what you think is the right value. Not get caught up in some of these teams that are throwing out ridiculous money to average players or above average players, because that ruins your rooms and your culture and what you're all about. And that's a big part of why Carolina was able to sustain with 30 new players on the roster this year and a lot of portal guys, sustain, their level of play, and get better even after a 3-3 start. A lot of teams with that many guys that are new or 1-year guys in the program or whatever, they're sold on coming to the SEC and competing and winning, and winning's fun. Obviously a lot more fun than losing. They just, they'd mail it in. They go to Oklahoma and fiddle around and lose, or lose to Vandy, that kind of thing. But South Carolina stayed together because of the culture. And you look around college football, there's a lot of examples of, since this NIL stuff started, of big spenders, and everybody goes, oh my God, they're going to be really good. And guess what? They're not. Severely, they range from slightly disappointing to severely disappointing. Ohio State may end up being the exception in the playoff this year. But Ohio State, of course, has a good nucleus of Ohio players, the best of the best from Ohio that go to their school, and a good foundation. That's A. And then B, I don't think anybody that's a Buckeye fan would tell you the regular season was not disappointing. I mean, they lost at the biggest game they played the regular season at Oregon, almost lost to Nebraska, and then lost to Michigan again. So it was a disappointing regular season, but it's slightly disappointing because I think now they've turned it on, and they're my pick to win it all. Wouldn't mind seeing Texas beat them to end some of the SEC garbage out there, but anti-SEC garbage. But that's my point is, there's a balance, there's a sweet spot you have to hit with this stuff. And I think, okay, maybe Justice Haynes wanted to go get a bunch of carries at Michigan, because I can tell you it wasn't a situation where Michigan massively outbid the Gamecocks. But I'll tell you this, if they paid more than what the Gamecocks were going to pay for him, they paid too much, just to be honest. And that's nothing against Justice Haynes. I hope he's a great kid, great person. Dad was a good NFL player. No, I'm not criticizing him at all. I hope he goes to Michigan and rushes for 1,000,000 yards. Hopefully he gets that many carries. He didn't get a lot at Alabama. But there's just at this point, you overpay for somebody, then it doesn't work out, or they're not good teammates or whatever. Then your other players are like, well, I'm better than this guy. And everybody's going to know what everybody's making, because revenue share is probably going to be public record, because 90% of college football programs are at state-supported schools. So that's why I think the Gamecock staff is pretty smart with trying to find a balance with paying and overpaying. And sure, if there's a superstar stud out there that's worth every penny, they're gonna pay for it. If I've mentioned Walter Nolan at D tackle, I mean, that guy would be worth paying for. A lot of the returning guys are worth what they're getting. But this whole spending in the portal just to win the day in the spring in January, I don't think the Gamecocks are going to play that game, nor should they. There's a formula they followed in the portal. A lot of guys from lower levels, a lot of guys that maybe weren't quite as good, and then a couple of guys that, you go like Spencer Rattler and Rocket Sanders, where you go, yeah, legit, proven legit, let's roll. And that's the way it's going to be for as long as Shane Beamer's here. If there was a concern, it's that they weren't getting that you didn't see on the horizon the Rasul Faisons of the world coming into the program, or the Boaz Stanleys. But I knew it was going to happen. I knew there would be some guys lined up, including this guy that we've been talking about for a while. And I think that this is a big pickup. He adds a speed and shiftiness element, a production element, an older back to go along with Oscar Attaway. So you got Oscar Attaway, you got Rasul Faison, and the two younger guys, Jawan Howell and Matthew Fuller, who redshirted, and then whoever else, Jaquel Holman, whoever. And all those guys are going to battle it out. I think they're all good. When do you see Matthew Fuller? I like them all, but I also realize, as everybody else should, that you need more. South Carolina's fortunate this year that they had a Rocket Sanders that stayed relatively healthy for the whole season. And if you have a guy like that, you're going to give him the ball. Marquell Blackwell did the right thing. It was smart to redshirt Howell and Fuller because you didn't need them, because you had Rocket, and then Attaway could come in and spell him. But I think, this next year, there's probably not a Rocket Sanders. I don't know that this guy is Rocket Sanders. I hope he's that productive or even more. But this is a good pickup for the Gamecocks. I think getting offensive linemen's great. But I think when you're talking about the offense next year, coming off the bowl game where they miss Sanders a little bit, and you're wondering who's going to replace him, getting a productive guy like this is outstanding. So there's this video about Faison. Like I said, nice pickup. It really rounds out the room, and some good news on a Tuesday night for the Gamecocks from the transfer portal. Be sure to get all the coverage on thebigspur.com. Hale McGranahan was all over this story today. He's been tracking it, the message board. You can use code BIGSPUR50 to get money off an annual membership. Or if you like Paramount Plus shows, I used to say if your wife likes Paramount Plus, maybe you could talk her into getting a Big Spur membership. If you pay full price, you get it for free. Well, now that I'm into all these Taylor Sheridan shows, Tulsa King, I watched an episode earlier today, all that good stuff, the prequels to Yellowstone, Landman with Billy Bob Thornton is tremendous. Lioness, really good show too. We talk about it on Inside the Gamecocks all the time. That comes with it, so if you're paying $5.99 a month for Paramount Plus, and you're thinking about joining the Big Spur or $9.99 or whatever, you join the Big Spur, pay full price, you get 2 for 1, get to hang out in the best community in the online sports world. I know there's some crazy people on there sometimes. Don't get me wrong. There's some folks that'll make you want to eat the skin off your face on that website, but they're damn good American people and Gamecocks, and they just kind of use it to get on there and vent. And then there's some super positive people, and then there's some people that really know ball. There's myself. There's Hale McGranahan, Tony Morrell, that answers questions every day. The great John Whittle, Alex Jones, all the guys you see on the show. So just throwing that out there. This is not a sales video, obviously, but that's a good deal, because you can either take the steeply discounted annual membership using code BIGSPUR50 or just pay full price and get Paramount Plus. And then there's a bigger package too, where you can get CBS Sports Line and gambling tips and all that with that as well. Just go to the site. You'll see that, but that's up to you. I'm still going to rock these free YouTube videos. And you're going to be getting that from me. And I appreciate everybody doing it. I mentioned the other video. I'm going to put that up after this. That's a longer kind of video where I go through all the visitors. I do mention Faison. Just skip over that part because it's kind of previewing his visit or talking about his visit. And I'll put a little disclaimer at the front of that. But, I talk about like 4 other guys too. So be sure to check that out when I put it up. But I wanted to go ahead and get this one out to you guys right now, just to tell you that there was good news from the Gamecocks. I'd be lying if I said that I was sitting there thinking, well, Faison's going to commit to the Gamecocks tonight. I'd be lying if I said that. And I always try to tell the truth. All right, folks, I'm off from Inside the Gamecocks, the show tomorrow. But look for the videos and stuff. JB has a good lineup. Brad Crawford will be on there. Be sure to check that out. Download the Chief Sports app. All that happiness. If there's another commitment or another visitor, something like that, you'll hear from me again right here on the Chief Sports South Carolina YouTube page. JC Shurburtt signing off.